Hello and welcome to the morning sports briefing here on Friday, the 11th of September. And in the news today, the Mitre 10 Cup kicks off. The Lydia Co is going well in the golf. We have a Tour de France update. Obviously, the US Open is going on. The NFL kicks off in the NBA. The Raptors push their series to a final game. Yes, it's a busy one as we head into the weekend. It's nearly here, folks. And let's start off with the NFL that kicks off today with the Chiefs versus the Texans over there in the USA. It is going to be a full season, but 60 players have opted out of the NFL season this year. There is also going to be now a new 14-team playoff format with the number of wildcard berths increased from 2 to 3, and meaning that only the conference's top seed gets a first round bye. So that all kicks off today, folks. The first game starts at 12:20 today, and don't forget that Tom Brady has changed teams, folks. So yes, will we see a Florida winner instead? I'm going to hand you over to Stephen, who's going to take us through our birthdays.
Good morning, Paul, and good morning, everybody tuning into New Zealand Sport Radio. In birthdays today, a former Waikato Chiefs and All Black hooker, a former open side flanker who played for both Canterbury and Hawke's Bay and went on to play for Leicester Tigers, and finally a name synonymous with Auckland Rugby, and that's where we start this morning. Benson Stanley, born this day, the 11th of September 1984 in Wollongong, is a former All Black centre. He made 3 appearances for the New Zealand All Blacks in 2010. He also had 53 caps for the Blues between 2008 and 2012, and he also represented Auckland on 36 occasions between 2003 and 2012. Now, Benson is one of the Stanley Rugby clan from Auckland here, which includes Chase, Joe, Jeremy, and Kyle. He's also the brother of Benson, who plays for the Harlequins Rugby Club. That's Winston Stanley. Moving right along, we're all oval ball this morning. Brendan O'Connor, born this day, the 11th of September 1989 in Gisborne, is a flanker who currently plays for the Hawke's Bay Magpies, but he's had a long industrious career, which actually started at ITM Cup level with Canterbury back in 2010. 2011, he made a couple of appearances for the Crusaders in 2012, and then he moved to Hawke's Bay between 2013 and 2015. We played the bulk of his rugby on 34 occasions. He then made an appearance did a stint for the Blues between 2013 and 2015, playing 42 games before moving on to the Tigers in 2015, the Leicester Tigers, making 73 appearances, and then returning last year and playing 11 games for the Hawke's Bay Magpies, playing on 11 occasions. He's a former New Zealand under-20s open side flanker, very, very good footballer, celebrates his 31st birthday today. And moving right along, Alex de Melmotch, who was born in Palmerston North in New Zealand here in the 11th of September 1984, and he turns 35 years old today. Now, he made his debut for Waikato in 2005, played through to 2011, made 34 appearances. He also played for the Chiefs during that period between 2011 and 2007 and 2011, making 37 appearances. And he made his All Black debut in 2009 for the All Blacks, and he made 5 appearances. He was also, through a grandparent, also eligible for Wales as well, but the fact that he had played for New Zealand pretty much ended that particular dream. He also made 70 appearances for Stade Francais in 2011, and that's our birthdays today.
Thank you very much, Stephen. And moving over then to the tennis. And today in the women's, we'll have Brady versus Osaka in the first semi-final. That's at 11 a.m. our time. And in the second semi-final, it'll be Serena Williams versus Azarenka. Now, Azarenka isn't seeded, so congratulations to her to get all the way to the semi-final. You'd have to say that Williams versus Osaka, 3rd seed versus 4th seed, is the most probable final there. Moving on then to the men's singles, which will take place tomorrow at 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. New Zealand time. Carrera Busta will place Zverev, who is the 5th seed, and then over on the other side, it's Medvedev versus Thiemann, 3rd seed versus 2nd seed. So that looks like it could be a cracker semi-final, second semi-final over there in the US Open. Moving on to the basketball then, and yes, it was an absolute cracker last night between the Raptors and the Celtics. It went to double overtime. The Celtics took a slight early lead, but the Raptors came back only to lead going into the 4th quarter. They gave up that lead and then managed to win overtime 27-24 in the end to win that 125-122. That means that's now a tied series of 3-3, which means tomorrow they will play out a decider to see who goes through to the conference finals. When they do that, they will be playing Miami, who have already gone, who are the first team into the conference finals. On the other side of the draw, on the Western Conference, the Clippers beat the Nuggets 96-85, so a relatively comfortable win there. They took their lead in the first quarter and didn't look back. Now they lead that series 3-1. The only game today will be the Lakers versus the Rockets. That starts at 11 a.m. New Zealand time, and the Lakers currently lead that series 2-1. Some way to go in that series after the Rockets took Oklahoma Thunder to 7. It took them 7 games to beat Oklahoma Thunder in that first round. Moving on, then I'm going to hand you over to Stephen for the sport that just keeps on giving. It's our NRL update.
I'm glad you're moving on right back to me, Paul. The first game of round 18 kicked off at Bankwest Stadium last night, and it was the Rabbitohs that took out the West Tigers by 26 points to 24 after leading by 20 points to 12 at halftime. Now, both sides scored 4 tries apiece, but it was the Rabbitohs who had the game pretty much under control when they led by 26 points to 12 with a quarter of the game gone despite a late comeback from the West Tigers. For the Rabbitohs, Campbell Graham got a double in the 25th and 57th minute. Other tries were scored by Corey Allen and Dane Gagai. The points for the West Tigers came from Luke Garner and Tommy Tallow, who scored within 3 minutes of each other. And the rest of their points coming a little bit later in the game in that last quarter. Luke Brooks scoring in the 61st minute and Asu Kapoa scoring in the 64th minute. The rest of the points coming from Adam Doihi's boots, and of course Rabbitohs conversions all came from Adam Reynolds, who also kicked a penalty goal. So he's on fire in this competition. There was a little bit of controversy in the game when Alex Twal was sent to the sin bin for a professional foul, and he's the South Sydney player. And then not long after that, looks like Dane Gagai, and was also given the yellow, given his marching orders as well when he threw a ball back in the face of Luke Brooks. Brooks was then marched for 10 minutes after a clear punch, but the reasoning for Gagai's dismissal was a little bit unclear from the officials. So there you go. But for the South Sydney Rabbitohs, it takes them up, cements them in 5th place, and the result, the loss for the West Tigers, was good news for the Warriors, which keeps them on 14 points at this point of the competition. Remembering the Warriors play on Sunday. Coming up this evening, we have got the Bulldogs versus the Sea Eagles from ANZ Stadium. That kicks off 8 p.m. New Zealand time, and in our later game, we have a beauty here. It'll be the Panthers. Let's see if they can continue their run. They take on the Eels at a Panthers Stadium, so they will definitely be hard to beat, looking good to take out that minor premiership. And if you've still got enough energy left, it'll be 9:55 p.m. if you want to stay up and watch that. We're on the cusp of our weekend. Have a great day, everybody, and have an even better weekend. And I'll be back tomorrow morning with more birthdays and more league news.
Thank you very much, Stephen, for that. Moving on then to the cricket, and the Knight Riders won in the CPL last night, beating the St. Lucia Zooks. The St. Lucia Zooks put to the target 154, and Torino, the Knight Riders got there with just over and over to spare. With that one. Moving on then into the golf, and currently we have the ANA Inspiration tournament for in the LPGA, and Lydia Ko is tied at 7th currently on it's the first round is live. She's through 15 holes so far, and she's at 2 under. The leader is back in the clubhouse on 4 under. So Lydia Ko going well there in the ANA Inspiration. Over in the PGA and at the Safeway Open, Tim Wilkinson is currently on the course in the first round. He is tied 7th at 3 under. The leader is currently at 7 under. So good luck to both of them in those tournaments. Moving on to the Tour de France now, and the Sunweb's Mark Hershey, after going close twice, he finished 3rd on Sunday. He finished 2nd in another stage. Finally, overnight, he won the stage. He won stage 12 in the Tour de France. It was was expected, or the expectation was it was going to be a breakaway win tomorrow. With the main leaders, or the leaders overall, taking it quiet before the mountains, before they enter back into the mountains, and it being too steep for the sprinters, and that's what happened. Mark Hershey managed to attack from his compatriots with 28k remaining to ride away and win his stage on his first Tour de France. So congratulations to the Swiss rider there. Moving on then to the rugby, and the Mitre 10 Cup kicks off today. I will be at North Harbour versus Canterbury for that one. I will also be at the Farah Palmer Cup game, which is North Harbour versus Bay of Plenty, before that as well. So keep a lookout on our Facebook stories for updates during the games, and then also check out our Facebook page. We'll be posting up our player and coach post-match interviews from both the Farah Palmer Cup and the Mitre 10 Cup games. In interesting news, the Sevilla brothers, Julian and Ardi, will play for Wellington. This will be the first time that they have played played together for Wellington in the Mitre 10 Cup. So little fact there, because obviously Julian was part of the All Blacks when Ardi was coming through, and then since then Ardi has been part of the All Blacks, and yes, so hence that's why it's not happened. There's increasing rumours that the Rugby Championship will be held in Australia and not in New Zealand. So we'll have to wait and see how that one pans out. Lots of rumours and accusations around who is to blame for that. But at the end of the day, let's just hope it takes place, folks. You have now started the day the best way, up to speed with all of the important sports news. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a wonderful Friday. The weekend is almost here, folks.